Jewel Institute of Advanced Driving. Drive with confidence.
Good evening from wherever you're watching us from. It is the 29th day of September and I trust you're doing fine from wherever you're watching us from. This is Mwangaza Prime News. Many thanks for choosing us to inform you tonight. My name is Daisy Paul and our sign language interpreter is Wanjiro Kahuria. We welcome you to the broadcast. 51 officers from the Department of Correctional Services across Kenya graduated in a colorful ceremony, the first of its kind. The ceremony conducted at the Moi International Stadium was organized by the Film Commission and the Kenya Film School and is aimed at equipping the warders in the relevant knowledge in filming to enable them pass on to the inmates who are multi-talented. Eva Juma has that story.
The first graduation ever in the film industry involving State Department of Correctional Services was conducted on Wednesday at the International Sports Center Kasarani here in Nairobi. The event of its kind was organized by the Kenya Film Commission together with Kenya Film School and led by a representative from the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, Maureen Baka.
Extremely honored and privileged today to present the following 51 officers from the State Department of Correctional Facilities who have qualified for the training of trainers in film production at the Kenya Film School.
It's with great delight that today, after a long wait, we join together this morning to celebrate the graduation of the newest filmmakers in town.
The officers sourced from different categories in correctional facilities across Kenya have been described as passionate, committed and very eager to exploit diverse opportunities in the film industry. Boasting of producing highly sought-after film stars both in Kenya and international, Victoria Goro, the director of Kenya Film School, disclosed the idea was born on 14th February 2020 at Committee Maximum Prison.
I want to thank the Kenya Film Commission for according the school this opportunity to be the first ever trainers of a cause of this particular nation, for giving us the confidence, for giving us the support, for believing in our abilities to be able to deliver on this particular task. And I think without a doubt from the films that you have seen, we have delivered in that particular area. Our parent ministry, through our CAS represented here, our parent ministry through our CAS who has joined us today, for the never-ending support that we get from our ministry. The belief in our abilities, the belief in the mandate of this particular institution, for the resources that we are able to acquire from our parent ministry, the many levels of engagement that we have between ourselves and the leadership of the ministry, really helping us to champion the agenda of film talent training in the Republic of Kenya. It would not have been possible without that support.
Stakeholders insist on other state departments to embrace the idea because film industry has a large impact on society.
Prison servers, and on my own behalf, to thank the Kenya Film School, the Kenya Film Commission, together with the Ministry of Information, Communication and Technology, for partnering with us to offer training on film to Kenya prison servers officers, and therefore the skills which were imparted or in which my good officers were taken through, like script writing, directing, cinematography, social recording, digital video recording, acting for film, production design, and wardrobe and makeup that were imparted to our officers will be nurtured to ensure realization of the intended goals in vocational trainings undertaken by the servers to achieve its core mandate of rehabilitation and reformation of offenders for effective reintegration into the society.
Filming requires a wealth of creativity and correctional facilities are ideal to transform negative to positive energy in relation to this field.
Okay, my name is Senior Sergeant of Prisons Paul Omondi from Committee Maximum Security Prison. And I'm delighted today to have completed the training in filming production. We've had 3 weeks training, intensive training, and today we are here graduating.
My name is Veronica Maina. I'm from Langata Women's Prisons. First and foremost, we're the first officers to ever be trained on film production. So it was an honor for us.
The more than 51 warders are now ready to impart the knowledge they've learned in filmmaking to their inmates in various correctional centers for a better future. Reporting for Mwangaza Prime News, Eva Juma.
His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta made a reassignment of the cabinet today, and among the changes that were done, Charles Keta, who was the cabinet minister for energy, was given devolution as his new department. Monica Juma, formerly in the Ministry of Defense in the Republic of Kenya, reassigned as the new cabinet secretary for energy. And we will be getting that report from our reporter Margaret Kamau in few minutes to come. But now, moving forward, the Principal Secretary for Implementation of Curriculum Reforms, Professor Fatuma Shege, said the participation in the education of their children is critical to the success of competence-based curriculum system of education. According to the PS, parents are expected to link the skills and values their children are getting under the CBC to the day-to-day life beyond the school. The professor said parents' interest and participation in their children's education will leave an indelible mark in their lives. She also urged the parents to embrace CBC by fielding and answering questions their children raise with them.
There is discomfort in the competency-based curriculum compared with 844. Now, those are two different things. 844 is a structure of education, and I hear parents, we want to go back to 844. That was a structure. My child to go for 8 years, be examined, go for 4 years, be examined, go for another 4 years in a college, and so on. However, when we come to the CBC, we are talking about a curriculum, content, and how it's being offered. That means the process of teaching and how the learner is learning and how the teacher assesses achievements of what has been learned. The generation that has children in CBC went through the system of 844. The curriculum was teacher content centered. The teacher knows it all. The teacher says everything that the learner needs to know. All what the learner needed to do is to have a good memory, to capture what the teacher is saying, be able to read and memorize what the textbooks are saying, buy test papers, past test papers to see the rhythm of how they will be examined. The parents to engage tutors for overtime teaching, weekend teaching, and so on, to tutor their children so that they master how the examination will usually comes. And then wait for the 8 years, go, sit for 3 days, pass or fail in recalling what they learned. That was how the 844 operated. And after doing the 8 years, the KCP, a small fraction who are gifted in recollection of what teacher says or what the book says, were labeled as success stories, and hundreds of thousands who are not gifted in that particular kind of intelligence were labeled as failures. And as you may know, we now appreciate that there are multiple intelligences that children will have. Some children have various of those intelligences. Others are gifted with only one intelligence, maybe an intelligence of knowing how to move their muscles and run very, very fast. And they can be trained when they hear the gunshot, they skip and run very fast in less than 9 seconds. Others may not have that intelligence. The previous system of education, which is being phased out, was focusing on one aspect of the various multiple intelligences that children have. The CBC is opening the whole education world to all children, regardless of the kind of intelligences that they are gifted.
Now, youths in the country have been encouraged to make use of various government empowerment funds to improve their livelihoods and abilities. The move comes amid concerns of low uptake of the funds, with a majority of the young people falling in the jobless bracket. Youth Fund Board Director Dr. Grace Kibuku said youth should be the controllers of their future lives, and through the revolving funds, they can start their own businesses. According to Kibuku, the revolving fund can benefit the youth through agribusiness, talents, and other enterprises, saying it was up to them to apply. She also noted that leaders had a duty of creating awareness and sensitizing youths on the opportunities the kitty offers to the young people.
Youth Fund has made milestones, great milestones. Since inception, our Youth Fund has given out as soft loans to young people about 14 billion. This 14 billion is a revolving kitty because these are loans. Once money paid goes back to the kitty and it is disbursed to the other deserving young people. When these young people are able to pay the loan, they are also an indication that they are able to sustain their enterprises. This is business enterprises. It could be agriculture, where we could do agribusiness. It could be talents, where like on Friday we had a talent launch clinic, where we are also trying to see what can we do for these young people who may be having challenges in their enterprises. Maybe they went to the wrong enterprises where they don't have the capacities and the talents. So we are partnering with Word Talent to ensure that our youth get the best. If they wish, they can be tested before they take the product so they can know which direction they are. In the year 2020-2021, we were able to give youth over 580 million in spite of the COVID. We also have a list of now the current past immediate year, 2020-21, the other was 19. So we are also committed to doing a similar amount, over 480 million. We meet our targets, and we're very happy that the youth are also getting to know we have the money. So we're also limited by the number of youth who apply. So if we had enough youth applying, we have enough resources to cater for them. And if we have enough youth being able to repay, we are also happy that the revolving kitty will work.
And for almost 3 years, Maxon Jeffwa has been a casual worker on this Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, KALRO, farm in Msabaha, Malindi Sub-County. One of his tasks is to plant under instructions from scientists various brachiaria grasses. He is now working on the Toledo variety. The churning out of livestock feed constitutes a key activity at the KALRO Dairy Research Institute in Msabaha. This is being carried out under the Kenya Climate Smart Agricultural Project.
We have to look for ways of increasing milk production within the same units of land we have, so that we can be able to meet the demand of that milk. And one way is going climate smart by having such kind of improved forages. Now this kind of forage, compared to the conventional Nepegras, these ones can be able to increase milk output because of the high nutrient content. So milk production per unit area is expected to increase when you use this kind of high quality climate smart forages. So that one should be able to assist us bridge the deficit in milk in the next 10 years.
We have seed systems that is focusing on brachiaria and sorghum for livestock feed. And that is what we are monitoring to see how the work is going on and how we are getting the brachiaria from the nuclear seed, how it is going to the producer organization or groups of farmers who will also produce and be able to give more to the farmers downstream.
Farmers are reporting to have produced high yield of milk from 1 liter, some to 2 liters, up to 4 liters. For those who are producing 2 liters are now getting 3.5 or 4 liters, which is a good impression and a good report from the farmers.
This bracharia grass is a local grass that was collected from Kenya and some other parts of East Africa, but it was improved in South America. But we recently repatriated some of those improved bracharia varieties.
Ilikuwa ni kilima Napier grass, lakini kituo chetu cha utafiti cha Karro waliponiletea nyasi ya bracharia, ndio nikaona inafaa sana kwanza huku kwetu. Ukiangalia zile nyasi ambazo zinakauka ni ile nyasi ambayo tulikuwa tukionaye zamani, ile ya kikwetu hapa, na haiwezi jua, ikipigwa na jua ndio maana unaona tulikuwa tukiingia kwenye ukame, ng'ombe zetu zinakosa lishe. Lakini kwa hivi sasa tulipoletewa hii bracharia, hata ukiangalia tofauti utaona bracharia bado inabaki iko green na hiyo yetu inakauka. Hivi sasa sina shida tena tangu iingie hii bracharia, kwa sababu kutoka Januari mpaka Disemba nyasi yangu iko vizuri, haina shida. Ikiwemo mwaka huu hatukupata mvua sana, lakini nyasi yangu bado ukiangalia bado iko green, kwa sababu bracharia inaweza kiangazi cha hapa.
Business persons in Kemera Market, Kisii County are a happy lot following the reopening of the market in a bid to improving businesses and making it easier for them. They have promised to work in unison and leaders promising to ensure the pending projects are achieved. The market will greatly help residents who have business ideas in implementing them.
Participation ilifanywa na ndio sababu naona ilikuwa kwa muda mrefu haishafanya kazi. Tulipofanya public participation ndio wakatuamuru kwamba sasa mifugo yetu haina soko, wacha hii iwe mahali pa kuhusia mifugo yetu. Kwa hivyo public participation ilifanywa. Tengenezwa na economic stimulus. That was 2007. Pesa zile zilitumika kwa wakati huo zinajulikana. Sisi ila tumefanya renovation kidogo, naona rangi imepakwa. Tulifanya fencing, unaona fencing iko pale. Hiyo ni kazi ya county government. Kwa hivyo inaweza sema kwa jumla kama sijakosea ilikuwa milioni 3.5. Ilikuwa 3.5 for the fence. Ukiongeza ya rangi na mambo mengine iko 1,100 sisi tunaongeza juu yake.
Leo niko na furaha sana. I'm so happy that soko yangu imefunguliwa leo. It's one of my objectives that hii soko ifunguliwe ndio isaidie watu wangu. Bila mnajua soko mahali hiko kama soko hii ya mifugo ambayo tunataka kuleta hapa, kuna vitu mingi sana ambao watu wangu watabenefit. Wengine watajifundisha biashara hapa, hata ya kuwa broker ya kuuza ng'ombe watapata hiyo kazi, na pia itapanua hapa sana. Kama saizi umesikia waziri amesema tunatakiwa tuweke mataa hapa, mimi nawahakikishia watu wangu kana kwamba mimi nikiwa mwenyekiti wa bajeti ya kaunti ya Nyamira, nitahakikisha hiyo kitu ikitoka kwao ikikuja kwangu kwa house, nita make sure nimeipitisha ndio tupate mataa hapa. Maji pia nimeleta maji katika hospitali ya Nyakegogi, nitahakikisha maji imefika hapa. Vile pia request waziri wangu wa soko na maji, make sure tumepata supplementary, tupate matangi tuweka hapa so that tupate maji. Unajua pia soko ni usafi.
And now at this point it's time for us to take a few minutes rest, but don't go far. We're coming back with more. Stay tuned.
Unatazama Mwangaza TV, tumaini lako.
Kwa zaidi ya miaka 15 kampuni ya Kemuma Engineering Systems imedhihirisha ustadi katika ulingo wa kuuza na kuweka vifaa vya ulinzi kama vile CCTV cameras, razor wire fence, electric and automatic gates, access control systems, computerized hotel and offices lock system, automatic and fire alarm systems pamoja na electrical accessories. Pia tunafanya consultation katika masuala yote ya ulinzi. Tunapofanya installation tunakupa warranty na na garantii. Maduka yetu yako jijini Nairobi na viungani mwake. Tutembelee au upige simu kupitia 0712828896 au 0721250846. Kemuma Engineering Systems. Security at its best.
Jewel Professional College is a Christian-based college located at Roysambu at Jewel Complex 6th floor along Thika Superhighway. We offer different courses. We have journalism, cosmetology, hospitality, clothing and technology, electrical engineering, ICT, and plumbing. We also offer short courses like pastry and bakery, basic cookery, housekeeping, ICDL, languages, and customer service. Karibu Jewel College, where the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Unatazama Mwangaza TV, tumaini lako.
Welcome back, and now starting off our second half of this bulletin, we start off with a story that we missed earlier on, where the President Uhuru Kenyatta made a reassignment of the cabinet today. Among the changes that were done, Charles Keta, who was the cabinet minister for energy, was given devolution as his new department. Monica Juma, formerly the minister in the Ministry of Defense in the Republic of Kenya, reassigned as the new cabinet secretary for energy. Our reporter Margaret Kamau followed the reassignment speech, which was given by the State House spokesperson Kanzedina, and prepared this report.
A cabinet reassignment has today taken place, with the State House spokesperson Kanzedina reading the new portfolio by His Excellency the President. She started by stating the transfer of functions and reconstruction of ministries to take place, naming a few, which include the State Department of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, together with the State Departments for Social Protection, Pension and Senior Citizens, transferred to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender, Ministry of Devolution, and Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, renamed as the Ministry of Devolution. Ministry of Public Service and Gender has been renamed as the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizen Affairs and Special Programs. And lastly, the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection has been renamed as the Ministry of Labor.
The State Department for Arid and Semi-Arid Land has now been transferred to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender. 2. The State Department of Social Protection, Pensions and Senior Citizens has been transferred to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender. 3. The State Department of Special Programs is transferred to the State Department of Social Protection, Pensions and Senior Citizens Affairs, and the department will hereby be renamed as the State Department for Social Protection, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs. The Ministry of Devolution and the ASOLs, that is the Arid and Semi-Arid Land, is hereby reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Devolution. The Ministry of Public Service and Gender is hereby reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs, and Special Programs. And finally, the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection is hereby reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Labor.
On reassignment of cabinet secretaries, Dr. Monica Juma, former Foreign Affairs Minister, is now to take over Ministry of Energy, Honorable Charles Keter, former Member of Parliament, is now to take over Ministry of Devolution. Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, former Justice Minister, to take over Ministry of Defence. And lastly, Professor Margaret Kobia is to retain her seat with more duties added, renaming the ministry as Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs.
Reassignment of Cabinet Secretaries. In accordance with Article 155, Section 5A of the Constitution, the following Cabinet Secretaries have been reassigned. Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Dr. Monica Juma moves from the Ministry of Defense to the Ministry of Energy. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Charles Keter moves and becomes the Cabinet Secretary of the Ministry of Devolution. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Eugene Wamalwa now takes over the Ministry of Defense. Cabinet Secretary Margaret Kobia retains her portfolio, but as you saw earlier, it was her, she got more duties, and with the new ministry, it will now be the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs, and Special Programs.
Lastly, she stated the reassignment of principal secretaries of state departments, starting off with Major General retired Gordon O. Kihalangwa, who is now the principal secretary, State Department of Energy, Dr. Engineer Joseph K. Njoroge, State Department of Transport, Mr. Solomon Kitungu, State Department Public Works, and Mr. Nelson Mara Sospita, who is now the principal secretary, State Department of Social Protection, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs.
The reassignment of principal secretaries. In accordance with Article 155, Section 4 of the Constitution, the following principal secretaries have been reassigned. Principal Secretary Major General retired Gordon O. Kihalangwa now becomes the Principal Secretary in the State Department of Energy. Dr. Engineer Joseph K. Njoroge now becomes the Principal Secretary of the State Department for Transport. Mr. Solomon Kitungu now becomes the Principal Secretary of the State Department of Public Works. Mr. Nelson Mara Sospita now becomes the Principal Secretary, State Department for Special Protection, Senior Citizens Affairs, and Special Programs.
The changes are to take effect immediately. Reporting for Mwangaza Prime News, State House, Nairobi County, Margaret Kamau.
And focusing on other matters now, as Kenyans continue to face hard economic times, borrowing of loans without following the terms and conditions rightfully has greatly contributed to lives becoming harder. It is evident that many Kenyans do not have a saving tendency, which is a cause of lack of progress as job employments are too scarce.
Let's give them a round of applause, please, as we unveil the MPNC mascot. There we go. Our revolutionary products.
You recognize that there's been a lot of focus on lending specifically, and we've not paid attention to some of the important components that are covered under Vision 2030, which, you know, if you're talking about financial inclusion, there are many aspects you need to look at. One of them is people to access loans. The other is you need to enable people to save. Basically, we are talking about wealth creation. So, savings has not received a lot of attention, and I think what we are doing today is an innovation. We are trying to see how we can reach as many Kenyans as possible, you know, without having brick and mortar outlets, but enable these Kenyans to access saving services as part of wealth creation. Traditionally, in conventional banking, if you walk to a banking outlet, they would ask you, how much money do you have? How much money do you want to save? And for what period of time? But I think we are coming in with a new dimension where we are saying, let's capture as many Kenyans as possible as part of our wealth creation motive. you can save as low as 500 Kenya shillings. Whatever you hold on your phone, you're able to save that on a particular day. So we are trying to tap into as many Kenyans as possible and be part of the wealth creation of the country. It is in line with the Vision 2030 of the country.
Residents of Nyakaba village, Juja sub-county, are living in fear of attacks by preying hippos that have been roaming around the village for months after straying from Darugo River. The animals routinely invade their farms, eating away their small produce and vegetables that they produce through irrigation, making them incur huge losses. Martha Mugure, a resident, says they have been forced to fetch water from the river in groups following a recent incident in which a number of them were chased by one of the hippos, surviving by a whisker.
Sisi tuko karibu na ile river inaitwa Darugo River. Lakini sisi tuko na usuni na ni usuni zaidi. Kwa maana kuna mnyama imeingia kwa maji inaitwa kimboko na jina ingine inaitwa nguo ama hippopotamus, wenyewe hawajui. Lakini ukitabua hippopotamus ni mnyama inatosana na ina gani na ni mnyama gani ikiwa karibu na area inaishi watu. Sasa sisi hata kuchota maji imekuwa ni sinda. Sisi hata kurima imekuwa ni sinda. Kwa sababu hii kiboko anaingia kwa masamba anakula chakula ya watu. Watu kuna vijana wanarima huku na wanajisaidia na hiyo chakula. Vijana wanamwaga spinach, wanamwaga sukuma, wanamwaga dandia. Na kuna wamama wanakujaga kuwanunulia ili watuletee kwa vibada. Ndio na sisi tusaidike ili hata wale wamama wasaidike, vijana wadogo wasaidike. Lakini saa hii tumekuja kuletewa sinda na hii kiboko. Hata hiyo kusaidika hata kukura imekuwa ni sida. Kwa maana ule mama akienda pale amepata mboga imekuliwa. Ule kijana akiingia pale asubuhi amepata ile mboga imekuliwa.
Anatokeaga kila asubuhi watu wakienda kazi anazuia kwenda kazini. Hata mama mwingine aliuliwa buzi na huyo mnyama. Sasa tunakasirika sana kwa sababu tuna huzuni. Hata watoto wetu hatuwezi tukatuma kwa mto kwa sababu tunaogopa wasije wakauawa na huyo mnyama. Kwa hivyo tuomba serikali yetu itume KWS ituondolee huyo mnyama. Siku ya leo kwanza ilisikiliza wazee, isipokuwa walikuwa na bio hawangejisaidia.
Hapa tumesumbuliwa sana na wanyama. Tumesikia kumepigwa ndulu huku chini. Sasa tukakuja kusaidia wamama walikuwa wanachota maji. Ilikuwa imetokea tiali, lakini tumeifuata lakini imepotea. Imeharibu vitu mingi sana hapa.
Kwa hii mto yetu iko kiboko yenye inatusumbua. Sometimes tukikuja kuchota maji mtu uogopa, unaweza ingia upatane nayo. Hata kutuma watoto wetu tunaogopa juu ni hatari. Tunaweza omba usaidizi kwa serikali, kama kuna mtu anaweza kuja atutolee tunaweza furahia sana. Kuna watu wa games walikuwa wamekuja huku, wakakuja wakashinda huku wakitafuta, but hakuna kitu chochote walifanya, ni kwenda tu walienda. Imekuwa huku sometimes mchana inatokea inaenda kukula kwa mashamba za watu, usiku inapanda mpaka huko kwa town center, inasumbua watu sana.
Police in Kiombi Police Station in Athi River held prayers to cleanse the station as they mourned their departed colleagues. They were joined by several pastors, local leaders, and members of the public. They expressed their shock as they grieved Corporal Lois Chepchumba and Corporal Purity Kungu, who were both attached to Kiombi Police Station during their demise. Purity Kungu got critically injured on September 22nd night after she was knocked down by a vehicle while crossing the busy Nairobi-Mombasa highway at Kiombi area as she was headed to general duties, but succumbed a day later at Machakos Level 5 Hospital.
Nainua kikosi nzima katika eneo hili mikononi mwako. Mungu mkuu, kuanzia leo hii hatutasikia mauti ambayo sio kwa ya kawaida.
Kumekuwa na ajali za barabara. Ofisasi wetu wakiwa on duty wanagongwa, wanaumizwa na hata kupoteza maisha katika barabara kuu ya kutoka Nairobi kwenda Mombasa, especially katika eneo letu hili. na hilo ndilo ambalo limetusukuma kuja pamoja na kusimama na ofisasi wetu ili kwamba tuombe pamoja nao na kuwatia moyo na kuwafariji wale ambao familia wamefiwa na our officers wakiwa kazini. Mpaka sasa katika historia ya nyuma tuna wale ambao tuliweza kuwapoteza kwa namna kama hii. Siwezi kuwa na idadi kamili, lakini sasa tuna officers wawili ambao wameaga, mmoja kwa kuangukiwa na roli na yule mwingine kugongwa akielekea katika tukio la accident, na hivyo basi tukawa tumempoteza na mwingine kuumia.
I think kukaweza patikana bumps pale zitasaidia, maana utapata wakati magari yanaingia kwenye mji yataingia kwa mwendo ambao si wa kasi. So tunaomba wahusika ambao wanahusika na mambo ya barabara wakaweze kuangalia hilo swala. Upate wakati watu wanaingia mji wa chumvi, magari hayaingii kwa speed ambayo iko juu. So hilo linaweza saidia na itatuwezesha kuepuka janga kama hili. Sio kwa askari tu bali pia hata kwa wananchi, maana ajali inaweza ikampata yoyote yule.
For the last 2 months, Laikipia Nature and Conservancy has been in the spotlight for allegedly harboring illegal grazers and bandits. This has resulted to insecurity in the region that has seen at least 12 people killed, scores injured, and hundreds of livestock stolen. Recently, the government declared the Conservancy as a disturbed area and announced a security operation to be initiated to weed out illegally armed grazers and bandits who use the vast ranch as a hiding haven. Residents and a section of leaders have been pointing fingers at the LNC management for failing to flush out the criminals who have caused mayhem to the neighboring communities.
Kwa majina yangu naitwa Beatrice Murigi Maina. Mimi ndiye mume wa huyu amekufa, na hakufa kifo ya kugojeka, alikufa kifo ya kudugwa na fuduki na wesi kutoka kwa hii kishaka ya ranchi. Msaada wetu sisi watu wa Wangwashe watoka wapi? Hii kishaka imetusumbua sana. Juu tunaambiwa ng'ombe sikishafika huko, hatuwezi tukaenda kupata hiyo ng'ombe tena. Tukauliza kwani ng'ombe ikifika huko, na kwa kweli wanasema kwa sauti, ng'ombe ikiingia huko ng'ombe imefika kwao.
Kijiji cha kwetu kimesumbuliwa kabisa. Hawa ambao wanawafadhili hawa majangili, tumeona magazeti, tumeona ikitaja watu fulani fulani, hata wengine ma-inspector. Sasa tunashangaa kwa nini serikali inapiga serikali, na ikiwa ni serikali kwa serikali inakuja kufanya nini kwetu?
Primarily a wildlife conservancy, and our main work is biodiversity protection, but in the last 10 years we've been establishing a range of social and eco-enterprises in partnership with our local communities, so that local communities can derive a benefit from the effective management of the natural resources. I think it would be helpful for people to see that Laikipia Nature Conservancy is right on the edge of the Rift Valley, and we are on the boundary of northern Baringo, where there's a huge amount of conflict. It is not just this community which is in conflict. It's not just Laikipia West. There's conflicts going on in Arabel, in Mukutani, in Kapedo, with the Marakwet. There's a lot of conflict.
In terms of security situation as we speak right now, we've had a flight, aerial flight. I've also received reports from my teams on the ground, the rangers and the different sources that I have. We still have a substantial amount of cattle still inside the conservancy as we speak. The approximate numbers I will put them at between 7,000 and 10,000.
That's all we had for you on our Mwangaza Prime News desk. Many thanks for watching, and many thanks to our Facebook family. My name is Daisy Paul, and our sign language interpreter is Wanjiro Kahuria. On behalf of the entire